So we'll talk here the data integrity, which is really very much important for all kind of the life science industry, all kind of regulated. I'll say not only the kind of pharma industry, either it is banking sector or maybe the trading or life science industry. Everywhere we need to follow the data integrity right from the complete life cycle of the data, right from input till output, wherever the data is being processed, even archive, disposal, everywhere we need to follow the data integrity. Otherwise, we are going to face consequences in future for sure. So the presentation overview, what we are going to cover in this presentation, I'll let you know what is the data integrity, environment requirement, data integrity principles, LCOA principles. I think most of us are knowing that now it is LCOA plus is there, not just LCOA. Basic data integrity expectation, data integrity example and warning letters, and how to implement data integrity in your organization. So what is the definition given by MHRA for the data integrity? Before we should go data integrity, I'll just talk about the what is data is all about. So the information derived, obtained from the raw data. For example, a reported analytical result. So it's just an example. So whatever your information deriving from the raw data, it is called the data. Any reported analytical report, or if you're working in the clinical trial, a lot of other reports are being generated. We are creating a lot of data like ICF, and if manufacturing plant, if we'll talk about, we are creating a lot of data. Either it may be the electronic format, it could be in the paper format. So data is data, irrespective of it's electronic or either it is electronic or it's a paper based. We need to fulfill all data integrity requirement all across. Whenever we are going to make the system automated, definitely it should be more stringent. Then what is the data integrity? The extent to which all data are complete, consistent, and accurate throughout the data lifecycle. Just now what I told. It's not at one place. When sometimes what we think that okay, the whatever the finished data, final data we are having in place, where we need to ensure that data integrity is being followed. No, right from the data input, data collection, data processing, then output, archival, data transfer from one location to other location. You need to fulfill your data integrity requirement for sure. You can't avoid in any place. If you miss either of one place, you are going to face consequence, and that will consider as a data integrity issue. Data can be electronic and paper-based. What I told, it could be hybrid. Some data will be the paper-based. Some if we'll talk about any business process, we'll have some processing. It is not automated, so you'll have a paper-based. You'll have some electronic, sometimes fully paper-based, sometimes fully electronic. It depends. So hybrid means your business process is a combination of the paper-based as well as electronic format. Like if we are working in the laboratory, we are having equipment for the analysis of the data. However, for the doing the analytical work, we are having sometimes paper-based document. So where we'll document all the steps, what reagent we added, how we how we are going to process the analytical methods and all. So it's combination. So where it will be considered as a hybrid. So if we'll talk about the data integrity, you need to ensure either it is paper-based, electronic, or hybrid. In all the conditions, we need to ensure data integrity requirements or principle is implemented and being followed. That is more important. Implementation is one, and following is also. It will have the same impact. The data life cycle, from the initial data generation, recording through the processing, including your transformation, migration, what we already discussed, use, retention, archiving, retrieval, and destruction. Everywhere, this is complete the life cycle of the data. And if you're talking about the data integrity, you're implementing your data integrity principles, you need to ensure these principles should come right from all the places when you are using the data, retaining the data, archiving the data, transferring the data, even when you are going to destruct the data, dispose the data after some time, when the retention period will over. There also you need to follow appropriate principle, procedure, so that your data should not lose, or it should not leak, or it should not go in the wrong hand. You need to destruct it because it's a company data, and you are having some critical information which need to be destroyed because your company don't need it, but other person may make wrong use of those kind of the data. So we need to ensure data integrity principle should be implemented the complete data life cycle, not one place or two place. So ensure whenever you are going to implement the data integrity principle, your understanding about the data flow, data process should be very clear. If it is not clear, you will miss one or two places. Now, normally when we miss, during the processing and transformation part, because this is maybe it is happening in the system. So system need to be validated appropriately for their transformation activity. Otherwise, if it is not, because it is not visible to a normal person. If you will not do the appropriate validation for the transformation activity, may your data processing will be wrong. So again, you will have a data integrity issue. So you need to face the consequence in future in multiple ways. That we'll discuss in the upcoming slides. What does quality? Quality means doing right when nobody is looking. This is the principle for all kind of activity what we are doing, either it's a personal or corporate life, or if you are working the GXP or regulatory requirement. So don't do anything because someone is watching you, because quality is there. Okay, then we'll do the appropriate processing. We'll document everything in real time. But if nobody is there, we just start doing, okay, we'll just process, we'll do the documentation later. So that kind of mentality we should come out. We should not have this kind of mentality when we are working in the compliant form. Even if at home also, you need to ensure you should be loyal for whenever nobody is watching you. I think everybody understood that sense. Why the data integrity is needed? To assure quality, safety, and efficacy of the drug. The documented data is only record of your activity presenting the quality of the product. See, the third person who is going to come and see your quality of the data, or safety of your complete process, or efficacy of drug, how they will ensure that you did the right job? They will they'll document what you have produced across the life cycle. With the help of that data, they will ensure, boss, your activity, your performance, your process, everything is really fine. It's up to mark, and they will give the approval to you. Either it's any of the regulatory authority. So based on your data only, they will judge your company. Based on that, they will give your approval, or they will stop your marketing. Either it is clinical trial or GLP, GCP, GMP, PB services. I'm just talking about the life science industry. If you go to the banking sector, there the data integrity is more critical. If you say 1.1 rupee, if you calculate in the long term, it costs huge money loss. So we need to ensure wherever we are working, we need to ensure the data integrity should not be compromised in any condition. But to ensure data integrity, you should know how we need to fulfill. So you need to understand the requirement for the workflow. So if anyone is coming and questioning your data integrity, means they are losing trust on you. That is very much important. So to avoid any such question by auditor, regulator, investigator, we need to ensure you're following the data integrity across the data lifecycle. So nobody will question. So you'll be trusted by the external agencies. Either it is regulatory agency, or maybe if you are a manufacturer and some other clients is going to use your services. So if they trust on you, then they will give project to you. You'll earn a lot. So in everything, like if any issue will happen, it is going to impact our company, our financial status also. And this, FDA hot topic is guilty until proven innocent. This is the, if they will find a data integrity issue, they will raise a concern. Now you need to prove that you have not done this intentionally, because you are guilty now. Like how it is happening in the dowry case. If your wife will file a case against you for the dowry, you will be convicted. Now you need to prove yourself she is wrong. In other cases, what is happening? If I will file a case by you did something wrong, you hit me or beat me, first the police will do the investigation. Then they will, if they will find it is correct, then they will file the charge sheet. But here it is not like that. You will be guilty in the day one only. Now you need to prove yourself you are innocent. The similar way it is happening for the data integrity related issue. Submitting the false data to the FDA is a criminal violation under FDA current good manufacturing practices. So it is very much important, because drug is being given to the person who is sick. He need your drug to save his life. And if you are not having appropriate process in place, and you are losing control on your process, may your final product is not up to the mark, and the person may lose their life. So if it is fine, if they will find that, oh, because of your negligence, or maybe intentionally you did because you want to save the money and you want to release the batch in any condition, so you will be sent to jail also. So that is also happening. And this is why the GLP came in the picture long back. So that is a different story we can discuss later sometime if you will be onboarded on the Pharma Connect. Next, consequence of data integrity issue. If you fail to implement appropriate data integrity policy principle in your organization, and it will be questioned, and a gap is identified by the investigator, because for FDA we are not calling. Hello.
Sir, you went on mute actually.
Okay, sorry, I don't know. Now I'm audible.
Yeah, you are audible. You can share your screen. Yeah.
Right from beginning I was mute, or
No. Just the like the current slide.
okay, maybe something went wrong. Okay, no. Thanks also for reminding me. Okay, let me. So I believe this part was clear. Why data integrity is needed.
Yes, yes.
Okay, then. Consequences, warning letter, what I told, import ban, consent decree, no future approvals. If you fail data integrity, they will stop the approval for the further submission of the drug. You are going to lose a lot of money. Your reputation will go. So we need to ensure you are implementing appropriate. We'll discuss about this warning letters and import ban in the upcoming slides also. So it's just the highlights here. What are led to data integrity? Some example. You just discarding the source document after accurate transcription. What will happen? Sometime we'll transcribe the data from one document to other document. Sometimes, like suppose if you are having today a hard copy, you are transcribing the data, and later you make the some system automated. You are transcribing the data from that hard copy or paper based to that system, and you thrown the data with the source document. So this is also a major data integrity issue. So you need to ensure your raw data or source data should be with you till your retention period. Yes, there is a clause or there is a system in place. if in case you are going to upload the complete scan copy, suppose you are developing a system or one document system where your all the paper base you are taking from the your hard copies, scanning, uploading in that system, and if some quality team will verify and make a true copy, it is like, and they will give a kind of declaration, it's an exact copy of the hard copy, even you can keep for some time till everything, all verification will be done. Then based on this declaration, but you need to define some on which basis you are going to destroy the other one. So you should have an appropriate process in place if you are discarding the source data, because now the source data is going to sit in the system and your system is having appropriate backup in place, maybe disaster recovery in place, depend on the nature of the data. So that is acceptable. Okay, so it's not like always you can't discard the source data, but yes, your source data should be verified, uploaded as a E format, and kept it with you till the retention period of that particular data as per the regulatory requirement. Deleting E file after printing. Sometimes what will happen, we are having electronic data generated and we'll print it and we'll delete the electronic. We said, okay, we don't need it. No, boss. If the data is generated directly in the system, that is the source data. Actually, where you are documenting first time is the source data. You need to retain that, because all kind of transformation, modification, processing is happening because of the, in referring to the your source data only. So you never destroy any source data in your organization. You need to keep it with you. You need to archive till your retention period will over. After that, also you need to take a consent from the business based on the regulatory expectation and requirement. They will give you a go ahead. Okay, boss, now we don't need, because this drug is out of market for last 15 years, and as per the US FDA regulation, we need to maintain the data after recalling the drug more than 3 audit cycle plus 1 year means 11 years. So you can destroy the data, but it's depend. It's simply you can't delete it. Inaction, inattention, or detail, lack of supervision. Sometimes that attention will be not in, the inaction is not there. Lack of supervision, people make mistakes. Data manipulation, it's a huge data integrity issue. Data manipulation means you are doing intentionally. So there is a chances to make mistake. It is acceptable in certain condition, but if you're doing anything intensely, it is not at all acceptable. Good data falsification. If you're generating the wrong data to make your batch pass, because you need to submit the batch in the market, you launch the market, but sometime what will happen, your UC test fail. So you're doing some malfunctioning, falsification, you're generating the wrong data just to make pass your, just to pass your batch. So this kind of thing, if it will be identified, it's a kind, you're going to face some major consequences. Misrepresentation. If you're representing something wrong data, the same thing kind of. Withholding critical information, etc. Because this is very much important. If auditors are coming and you made some mistake in between and you're not going to show those critical information to the auditor or some this kind of thing, so definitely if they will identify, then it will be a major data integrity issue. Some data integrity regulatory requirements like FDA, MHRA, WHO, FDA, CGMP. So a lot of, you can see here the picks in 2016. So number of regulators, they have already given a lot of recommendation, guideline, somewhat norms for data integrity. We need to ensure that you are fulfilling those requirements. So you can see on the screen, you can Google it out. You can find this document in PDF format and can go through. So really help you a lot to understand more about data integrity. Because if you know the data integrity, then only you can avoid your data integrity issues. So there is some example for critical and major deficiency identified by different regulatory across the world, in India, within 2013 to 2016. If you see 20% 483 major observation given because of the data integrity issue. So imagine it's huge, it's not less, 20%. And this could be avoided. If you know the regulation, you know the data flow, you are having appropriate control in place to avoid such data integrity issue, it could be avoided. If system is not working, okay, you can understand. If you're missing something because of you're not knowing. Okay, understand. But if it is major, you're doing knowingly, or if you're not knowing, unknowingly also doing something wrong, that is not at all acceptable. So you need to aware. So your organization should have appropriate training curricula also. The person should be aware about the data integrity requirement and principle. So MHRA data integrity, because MHRA has defined very nicely over the data integrity definitions and guidance. So just I have taken these values from there only. So data integrity is the extent to which all the data are complete, consistent, and accurate throughout the data lifecycle. We already discussed 4.7 handwritten entries should be made in a clear, legible, indelible way. Here I would like to say one more thing about earlier. If you go maybe 8 or 10 years before, your GDP, if you are working in the organization, GDP SOP will have make a strike of override, sign it. Now it is removed from all the SOP. If you have not been removed, please remove it. Because overwriting means first you try to do manipulation. If you are not able to do, then you striked off, corrected the data, written the right value, and sign it. So that is not at all acceptable. Overwriting either in the electronic format or in paper base, you can't do. Even you can't have a provision. If some person will do the overwrite and they can correct and say, boss, I did overwriting. Now I'm accepting my mistake, and I'm correcting. I'm writing the right values here. So that you need to ensure. Your SOP should not talk about the overwriting. Simple thing. If something goes wrong, I am human. I can do it. I'll make a strike off so that the value, what is written behind that, should be visible to me. And I will write the right things. I'll write appropriate justification why this mistake had happened and what is the right value, and proceed it. Nobody is going to question you. But if you do the overwriting, simple thing, you just try to do the manipulation. If you're not able to do, then you did the correction. So that kind of thing we should avoid in any condition. So this way, if you see all the companies, all the electronic data, if one file is created, and if something goes wrong, if you want to create a new file, it will never overwrite the previous one. Okay, you need to create a new file, and definitely you can write a appropriate justification why the other file was created and you are not going to use. So there is always way to justify the things if you are truthful. So don't try to do any malfunction in any condition. Record should be made or completed at the time each action is taken. Simple. It's a real time. All the recording should be done in the real time. We should not, okay, you can't assume the time. If you're not written, and if auditor identify, in your internal auditor I'm talking about, you can't write the time. You can write time in only condition. Suppose you've taken a print from some pH meter, and you need to document that time, date and time to your system if you are having automated lab notebook, or in case if you are having a manual process, so you need to fill that in the form, and you missed to write that. So you are having a traceability. The source data is that print. There you are having the date and time stamp. If that is not there, immediately you need to write what you did, because you can't assume date and time. You can't assume your process steps. So that is very much important. So, and everything should be traceable. Any iteration made to your entry document should be signed and dated. It's very important. If you any entry you are taking, normally your form, if it is paper-based form, you are having signature places. And if you are doing any iteration, you have done everything. Later on, you identified some mistakes. You can make a strike off, write the right value, sign with the date. Date is really important. Even you can do late entry with the appropriate justification, so that your justification will tell about what had happened. If you will not write appropriate justification, after some time, because normally audit will come in minimum of 1.5 to 2 years. Before that, it will not come. Yes, definitely your internal auditor will come, but not the regulatory agencies. 99% cases. Anyway, there is an emergency approval cases are coming for the critical medicine, like how it happened during the corona vaccinations. So we should keep these things in exception, but normal cases I'm talking about. So because you are submitting a dossier, so they will only review the dossier. Based on the dossier submitted to authority, they will give the approval to your particular drug. But later they can come and audit your rest of the things, your premises, your other process document, your other raw data, because you're sending only few percent, like 10%, 20%, depending on the regulatory requirement. So that also you need to ensure. The effort and sorry, resource assignment to the data governance should be commensurate with the risk to the product quality. So that is very much important. So risk to the product quality, based on that, your governance policy should be in place. Also be balanced with other quality assurance resources demand. So whenever you are developing a process, you're following the process, you need to ensure, so all kind of quality assurance doesn't mean your quality assurance team working within your organization. No, it's an overall quality assurance resource which needed to for a governance of your complete process. Manufacturing and analytical laboratories are not expected to implement a forensic approach to data checking on the routine basis, but instead design and operate a system which provide acceptable state of the control based on the data integrity risk. So this way, whenever we are developing any process, either it is manual process or automated process, we need to ensure during the process, your data integrity principle should be taken care. So by design, your process or automated system, your data integrity, like normally we are quality by design, the same way, data integrity by design, either it is process or it is your application being used in your organization, because your applications, softwares, equipment, instrument, everything is the part of your business process. It will not come out, because why you're taking those applications, softwares, equipment, instrument, just to fulfill your business requirement. So this will impact everywhere. All the aspects need to be taken care. How to design a system to ensure the data integrity? System should be designed to ensure the data integrity. Some examples are here, but not limited. Based on your experience, you can utilize more also. Like access to the clock for recording the time event. Clock doesn't mean what clock you're putting on the wall. Like clock, any time is stamped. If it is automated, it should be your calibrated integrated clock, which is normally your IT team will take care of that. So your system should integrate with that. Accessible to the batch record at the location where activity is taken place. So that is also important. So where you are doing the documentation, either it's automated, so your system should record. Location also should be visible there. That adopt data recording, later transcription of the official record is not necessary. So accessible to the batch record at the location where activities take place, so that adopt data recording and later transcription of the official record is not necessary. So everything should be in the real time at the location where you are doing the activity. So everything should be your process control. So you can avoid any type of miss, because people are training the process, they will follow the process. So you need to motivate, you should have a kind of motivational environment within the organization, so that everybody should follow your principle for the data integrity. It's really important. Control over the blank paper template for the data recording. We should always have a control. Nobody should document anything in the blank paper. You should have appropriate template, should be issued by your quality assurance team, or there should be a system so they can directly download from that application. It will have a unique ID. So it's not like that if they make some mistake, they will tear the form and throw in it. So that should not be the case. User access right, it's very important for any of the data integrity thing. So role-based privilege. Automated data capture or the printer attached with the equipment such as the balance. So you should have automated thing. Definitely you can avoid a lot of data integrity issue, because manually person may miss. Sometimes they will receive a call. Even we are not having mobile in the lab, but yes, sometimes some company will have that. The same time the call came and they didn't document appropriately in the real time. So that's going to impact your data integrity. Proximity of the printer to the relevant activities, access to the sampling point, display, measuring devices, access to the raw data for the staff for review. So it is very important. So data integrity, as per USA just now what we discussed, ELCO, this is not, remember one thing you should also know, this data integrity is only triggered to develop 21 CFR Part 11. This is a different complete study material. It's given by it's a norm, 21 CFR Part 11 given by the FDA, US FDA especially. FDA is in all the countries. And this data integrity issue only triggered them, was we should have some regulations. So they identified this part 11 in 20 CFR, and they defined the complete requirement for e-signature and e-record for automated system. This is not just e-signature. Actually, this title set for the electronic signature and electronic record, but it is talking about the validation requirement also for which is being used for your application. So as we most of us are working the life science industry, so I thought I'll take one slide for the GXP. What is GXP is all about? GXP, G is the good, P for the practice, X is the variable which can be replaced with the good manufacturing practices, laboratory practices, documentation practices, clinical practices. Now PV distribution, all will come together. So here you can find the complete whole detail. So all the variables are covered here. Alcoa. I'll just Alcoa is you can see here the earlier it was only Alcoa, but now it's Alcoa plus. Actually we are having more than what Alcoa is talking about. So let me go in the next slide where I have defined bit, so it will help because of technical issue we already started a bit late. A for attributable, record who wrote it and when with the sign the date. So the time it's a kind of real time. All the documentation should be done in the real time. Legible, it's very much self-explanatory. The data should be readable format. Then only it is acceptable. Contemporaneous, record the data at the time it was generated in real time. Original, it should be unaltered. We just discussed, if you are going to alter the data, you are doing the falsification, you are going to face the consequences. That also we discuss in the upcoming slides. Original, data should be unaltered. Accurate, data should reflect actual value, trueness, free from error. So that is very much important. Small error will cause a huge difference at the end, especially if you talk about the where we are doing the quantification kind of thing. If you go to the regulated like the financial sector or trading, if their calculator is not working properly for the calculation of their percentage or rate of interest and all, you can imagine it. .1 will impact a lot if you're dealing with the $1 billion. Available for review at any time. It's very much important. You can't say, boss, I don't have data. We have destroyed the data. You need to keep the data till retention period defined. Each and every company will define their own retention period based on kind of the data you are submitting to the authority. Normally in India, if we'll talk about the income data, normally they will suggest you just keep for the 3 year. But sometimes the company will keep for 5 years for the safer side. For the GXP data, if you are submitting some data to the Canada or Brazil, it should be by default 25 years. You need to retain the data at your organization. If it is US FDA, what I told, 3 audit cycle plus 1 means 3 into 3, 9 plus 1, 10 years, close to 10 years. After that, if your drug is not in the market, you have already withdrawn, you produce some new dose form or new kind of variable, and you have having new set of the data for those particular new doses form and drug. So after recalling the data or removing the drug from the market, you need another 10 years. It's that time period is over. You can destroy the data. Enduring is important. Making sure the record exists for entire period. Complete. Data is complete. Sorry, complete state to avoid recreation and manipulation. So if you'll write incomplete data, what will happen? Again, if something is missing, again you need to go. If it is kind of you are having some source, like in system, some printout is there, you need to go document it again. Better to complete the information, what you are doing for that particular step, then you from there. So don't leave, okay, someone called, boss, will go for the tea. Then, okay, so don't, okay, tell them, boss, wait for 3 minutes. I need to complete this entries because I have just now I'm doing this activity. Stop it if your process is allowing you to stop. Because if some retention period or maybe stability issues there, you can't go if you're working in the laboratories. Okay, so based on the situation, you can take a call. But whatever step you're doing right now, that need to be completed before you're leaving the place. That is the culture of your organization. If you're working in any life science industry, consistent, it's really important. Data is a sequential manner with the sign and date. Follow the GDP for the consistency in the documentation. If you follow the appropriate GDP, means your data will be because your process is validated. All the software we use for to fulfill the requirement for the process is validated for your requirement. So data, whatever that we are generating, processing, everything should be consistent. It should not vary with the time. Otherwise, that is also a kind of issue. So a lot of data integrity issue identified by the different auditor across, and it's given as an observation like backdating, post dating, missing signature, fabricating, faking data. These are the just values taken from the different kind of warning letter in 483. So releasing failing product, what just now we discussed, because just they will do some falsification, they will generate the data and release the failed product also in the market. Hiding, obscuring the SOP protocol deviation. So sometimes if some SOP or protocol deviation is happening, they will not document it because your QMS is stating that, boss, deviation need to be documented. You need to follow a deviation SOP. If some kappa happening, you need to fulfill the kappa requirement. You need to do that. And if it is related to your process or your drug submission across somewhere it happened, you need to submit that also. All deviation, all kappa need to submit it with the dossier if you're submitting to the any regulatory authority. You need to ensure. Inadequate reporting of the failure and deviation. Just now what we discussed, use of the non-validated software. Sometimes what will happen, people will think, okay, the process is validated, in between they are using some other application or maybe some new process they are introducing. They are not, because they are just checking end to end. At the end we are getting all that. Yes, in some sort we can justify this, but as validation is the requirement, you can't avoid it. So you need to take care of that before using those particular software application or maybe the newly introduced process, which is supporting directly or indirectly for regulatory submissions. Mismatch between the reported data and actual data. So you have reported the data. When they are coming for the audit, with the reported data, they are verifying your raw data and they are finding mismatch in that. So that is also kind of data integrity to being identified by different regulator in past few years. One of the most important one, no link traceability to the source document or original document. So there is no, you have reported something, it just went to your authority. When they are coming and they are trying to find those values from where you have taken, you don't have source data in place. This is really going to make you in big trouble. So avoid this kind of thing. You need to retain data. Source data is really important. Again, the process data, that is also equally important. All the output during retention, whatever the retention policies, if you are going to archive the data, you need to ensure all kind of security controls are in place to safeguard your data till your retention period. You should ensure that you can't avoid data integrity principle implementation in any of the condition, in any of the step of your data life cycle. Some rerunning of the sample test. So you can read this. Test until release. No. This is very important. Test until release. I know I witnessed this issue in one of the import went from one of the organizations. What they did, they submitted one system suitability testing. It's failed. They deleted. Again, they submitted. It's failed. They deleted. Then third time they submitted and passed. And they reported only the passed one. When they came for the audit and they sit on the system, they all started reviewing. See, this is why you should know the process, audit trail, event log in the system. So it's our responsibility, if we are the senior and the new persons are coming to working in this environment, we need to make them understand. We need to motivate them, boss, don't do anything wrong, because it will be caught. It is sitting somewhere in your system. You can't avoid that because we are having a lot of automated systems. Nobody can edit or delete anything. So auditor identified few system suitability. Badge was deleted from the folder, but it was sitting in your instrument audit trail. He identified such two incidents, and it was a cause for the major audit observation. Later, it converted to warning letter and then import ban for 2 years. And the other company spent huge, close to $20 million to review the 100% data integrity issue across the particular empowered 2 software, which was close to 4 or 5 year older data. They reviewed close to 11 lakh files in the system. They utilized 180% to review those complete data, and they identified only 7 such issues. Out of 11 lakh, 7 issues they identified, 2 was identified by the auditor. So it's all different. So you can imagine, because of one person mistake, only for few cases, they spent $20 million for rectifying the issue. They are not able to sell the product in the market. So that is the big loss, and market reputation. So we need to ensure that. Inadequate access authorization. This is earlier it was more common, now it is more stringent. Discarding the delete, just now what we discussed. Not reporting the failing result, we discussed. Conducting unofficial analysis, that we should not do. Everything should be official, documented. If something had happened by mistake, document it. Write the appropriate justification, do the investigation, do the appropriate deviation or kappa, close it out, submit it. Don't hide anything. If you're hiding, means it's wrong. Disabling audit trial, fabricating the training data, because sometimes this is most commonly observation being taken by the got by the auditor, because people are doing the activity, they know everything, but SOP will be updated, but they will not complete the training, and they will start working on, because they know, because I'm working in the system for long, so I know everything. So that should not be the case. You need to complete your training, document it, keep in your organization. So whenever the auditor will ask, they will find, okay, Mr. X is having completed his training. So mainly related to the honesty and ethical issue. So honesty and ethical issue is really important. If you are honest, ethical, I'll say your 80% of data integrity issue will be resolved. Only 20%, if you are having understanding of your workflow and data integrity principles. So you fulfill all the requirements. This thing I have written in the red. Data integrity, understanding the difference between the falsification and bad, poor documentation. In certain conditions, they may accept your bad and poor documentation. But if you are doing the falsification, it is not at all acceptable in any condition. Like human error data entered by mistake. It's a human error. Okay. They make mistake. If it was identified later, they can correct it. They can accept it. Ignorance, not aware of regulatory requirement. So this is also wrong. Maybe it is not, they're not doing intensely, but they are not aware of the regulatory requirement. They are making mistakes. That also they need to ensure. So this is what I'm telling. You should have appropriate training procedure, awareness session in organization. So each and every employee onboarding in your organization should complete the data integrity principles training, and they should know what to do, what not to do is very much important. Reporting only passing result by executing the failing, excluding the failing result. This is the falsification. This is going to make you in more trouble. Unauthorized change to the data post acquisition. After acquisition, they are doing the unauthorization changes. So that is also not acceptable. Error during transmission from one computer to another. If you are doing the migration of the data and you are making mistakes, so there is a possibility. This is not intentional, but yes, it is happening because of your system is not appropriately validated and error is happening. So you need to ensure that whenever you are going to integrate two systems for the processing, exact data is moving from system 1 to 2. So that is really important. Change due to the software bug, malware, of which user is unaware. So user is unaware because some problem had happened. They did the bug fixing. They again handed over the application. I started working. I don't want to know. I want that my software should be validated. But definitely people in between has validated. They did some PQ. But still some bugs exist. Means during writing of the performance qualification or user acceptance testing for the bug, so two things are happening. Why? Maybe during the bug fixing, they have not introduced, the developer has not told us, was maybe some other functionality will be impacted. And we didn't do the validation for those impacted functionality. So possibly because of the bug, what changes we need to do, that we validated fine perfectly. But it may impact the other functionality, and that is making difference in your result, and you are not aware of that. You thought, yes, was my software is validated, so whatever result is coming is up to the mark, so I need to submit it. But once you'll go for actual calculation, verification, you identify something is not correct. So this is happening. So we need to ensure it's all of the spec. Like what, like if your person is doing the bug fixing, the person who is going to, so you as a user, it's your responsibility to ask, was I need a complete impact assessment of your software that your bug fixing is not impacted my existing functionality. So I need to ensure that I need to ensure by testing of those impacted functionality also to avoid any malfunctioning. Again, it could be happen because of the hardware malfunctioning. This is also most of the time happening once we'll go for the upgrade or change. So we need to do the appropriate impact assessment, appropriate testing to avoid any kind of data integrity. So we are already time, but we'll take another 5 minutes because we started late. Typical content in warning letter. So just I have taken this for most of the different warning letters or 483. Which kind of observation most of the pharma industry will find? Like, firm did not identify, report, investigate the out of specification results. So sometimes some results is out of specification, but they didn't identify it, they didn't report it, even they didn't do the proper investigation. This kind of observation, lot of pharma industry will get it. Firm did not retain the raw data, what we already discussed. Raw data related to the sample. Sample means anything. It could be any sample weight and sample solution preparation of the HPLC. They prepared a lot of solution for the HPLC, but they weighted the sample, but they are not having the raw data. So that auditor didn't able to trace those things. So these are also major. So if you are talking about the warning letter, it's a major for it. It's not a simple, right? Repeated the analysis next day using new set of the sample solution and reported the retest result in the COA. So that is also not acceptable. Firm deleted, disregarded out of specific data without investigation. We can't delete anything. If something happened, accept it, investigate it, close it, redo the activity based on your investigation. And if it is passing, submit both the things. Don't hide anything. During inspection, QC chemist admitted that under the direction of the senior colleague, he had recorded false data, the logbook for result sample. So this kind of, because one part of their auditing is interviewing the chemist also, employees also. So you can't avoid that. So they revealed that was, my supervisor told that was you do that. So that is also unacceptable. It's a major cause. Failing to investigate the customer complaint. This is also important aspect. Failing to extend their investigation of the problem into all lot of products that were affected. The FDA found an operator performing in the process weight check, measuring 2 weight, going to the next room where the batch records are kept and documented. So weighing, and see, normally if you are weighing a sample somewhere, that should be a separate place. You should not contaminate your like weighing place or laboratory where you're using some product or like IP or something, or like reagents and all, and document should be some other place. The documentation is the first done on the loose sheet. This is what we told. We should not use any paper base. We should only use the record template, which is issued by, or it should be controlled. So in your laboratory or wherever you are documenting anything, you should not have any loose page or any just white paper to document anything. Don't document. Even don't write anything in your diaries also. Because sometimes they will go and they will take your diary because they are coming directly at your place. And sometimes the people will start calculating in that. They will do the precision calculation. They will write some date and time when they put the sample in the centrifuge, when they put on submitted the batch. So later on they can come and they will document the form. So that should not be the case. QC analyst label sample. So labeling was not correct. Creating passing test result without performing the test. So a lot of things are there. If you go through lack of the record, demonstrating who perform analysis. So that is also important because who has performed the record. That is most important. So if it is automated, so definitely by default your valid signature will come. If it is paper based, what will happen? You need to sign and date. So that is also important aspect. Similar observation identified by one of the auditors. Even I know that one analyst was working in a team leader's login. So that is really major concern. Everybody should use their own named account, There is no shared account. You can't use to the others account. There's a way. Suppose if you want to give some training to the person, and so you can stand behind, because without that training, the person will not get the access. So other person will only work in presence of the other person, the person whose account is being used, and it should be documented somewhere. Under presence of Mr. A, B has completed his training in his login, something like that. There should be a justification in place. And the auditor identified. And it was a major concern for that organization, and that lead to warning letter, later converted to the import ban. So these kind of small things become a big thing for the chromatography software was not validated to ensure rewriting, deletion of the data prohibited. So software, they have not tested actually their audit trial, I'll say. Falsification of the batch record, what we do, this is also coming earlier. It was more reduced, people are aware more because of lot of awarenesses and training like us, what we are giving as a Pharma Connect. It's all helping people to understand, to be motivated where we are working. FDA to the lot of other typical content like form. See, if you bullet point, repeatedly delay, deny, limited, and inspector to refuse to permit the evidence. This is really a critical observation. Sometimes they will issue warning letter for this kind. Earlier, now the case is different. Earlier, what was there? If you want to come to the audit, you need to send an email. Your company will accept the date, and then okay, boss, you can come. Then they will apply for the visa and they will come for audit. But now they are having their own office in India, so they can come anytime. So earlier, sometime what the manufacturer will send, boss, we are not having time, we are having a lot of work, a lot of things will be there. So in that case, without coming there, they will release a warning letter. So that kind of cases also happening here. So all area will be accessed or copied of record for every inspection. So torn raw data record. So this is also not at all acceptable. You can't own anything which is documented. Yes, if something goes wrong, strike off. If you're not going to use, make appropriate justification, right? Use the other form. There is no harm in that, but you need to report everything. You can't hide anything. Inspector asked 3 times if there were any more record, and the QA officers responded to each question. No, this is all of the record. So this is also kind of, because he knows something. He wants something because they are well trained for the process. They will ask some process document, but even QA is telling that we don't have any such record. So definitely that turned to the warning letter. Inspectors then revisited the waste area. This is very important nowadays. Most of the auditor, investigators and auditors are going to view your waste area. So ensure before audit, at least it should be your practice. Nothing should be unauthorized, should be available at your waste area. So that is very much important. Only what they do, they will do the audit and turn the raw data, and which is not, they will create a new data and they will throw in the waste area. Now they are going those waste area and they are taking the data. They are reviewing which kind of data you're torn and thrown. So it should not be related to any of your GXP relevant. So these record include raw data, testing worksheet, MB reports. So a lot of things are there because Co provides some but not all the record requested by investigator that FDA had the authority to inspect. So they will provide some data but not all. So that is also kind of warning for them. Now it's data integrity implementation is really important aspect. So establish a data integrity policy to show that you are serious about falsification of the data that is a cause for termination. So train on the policy. This training is very much important. You should have a appropriate training or awareness process, because yes, you are having a great procedure in place. All SOPs are well validated. Your softwares are validated, but your people are not following. They are doing malfunctioning. They are doing falsification. So that is very important. We need to make them understand the value of data integrity. So that is really important. So establishment the general standard for the GDP so that even most innocent record issue cannot be perceived as a, because it's sometimes what will happen is minor impact, a minor correction will be there, or minor mistake will happen. So they try to hide those because they want to save themselves, and it's very minor. But if they will hide it, it become a major. So if the person is aware, yes, it is. I made a mistake. I'll make a strike off. Sign, date and time. Done. I've written justification why it happened. But if you hide it, it's major observation. Data integrity implementation, simple, this line should be always perfect for everywhere. Prevention is better than cure. So you have appropriate QMS, you need to modernize your quality management system, you need to modernize computer validation system, data review policies, quality risk management processes, control of the document and record, strengthen your internal audit. So your auditor will be well trained, so it will help to avoid major audit finding by the external auditor or the regulatory authority. Identifying the risk factor. So now we know risk-based approach we are applying for all kind of process development. So we should utilize well-trained, well-experienced person when we are developing any process. So you can identify all kind of risks, what may happen in future, put a mitigation in place, develop a process document, appropriate training, and close it out. So we can avoid technical QA training, education, promoting, supporting quality culture. This is very much, I'll always prefer this part, promoting and supporting the quality culture. If each and every individual will follow their own ethics, the company will never face any issue for sure. Because if something goes wrong, it's by mistake. That is justifiable. But it's by mistake should not be like too much. So you are not having validated system. Those kind of. So you should be aware. Your system should be in place. You should have an effective CAPA management system. Quality management perform review meeting. So your quality management, whoever there, they should always review them, have a review meeting, maybe weekly, monthly, or whatever it may be. So they should discuss all kind of issue, what is coming across the organization. And they try to, if some back-to-back a similar kind of issue is coming, they try to do some trending, develop a checkpoint, educate the team, so they should avoid such issue again. Be honest, what I told. It's a perfect fit for data integrity followers. Record all the data in contemporaneous manner and sign and date. Enter the date and time as per procedure. Any error shall be corrected as per GDP. Any change should be noted with reason and reported. So data shall accurately reflect who performed or witnessed the activity or who entered the result or verified the accuracy of the entries. Never record the signature or initial of another person. It's a major issue. Never predate or backdate entity. Sometimes what will happen, they will write sign before, oh, I know I am going to complete this task today only. Don't do that. Computer system shall be trustworthy, validated, ensure access control and audit trail. It's very much important to avoid any kind of data integrity issue because now we are more into the automated system. Let us question ourselves. This is very much most important slide. Are we compliant with the ALCOA principle in our daily work? Yes or no? Answer to yourself. Do we meet requirement of regulatory guidelines? Yes or no? Question to yourself. If yes, you are well and good. If no, fine. Fix it. Where do we have problem or deviation regarding data integrity? What I told, the quality management team should have a review meeting. So because all the deviation CAPA is coming to them. So they can find which kind of repetitive deviation are happening, where we are having gap. So based on that, they can develop a process, strengthen the process, educate the team, make awareness session, so we can avoid similar issue in future. Which employee have difficulties with the implementation? This is very important. Which sometimes employee, I'm not talking about one person. So if it is person, definitely you need to make train him, educate him, awareness session. If it is kind of one department is making some mistake, so there is a problem in the process. So you need to think in that way also, because always the mistake is not by the person. Maybe your process is not defined such a way so that people will follow easily. Your process should be easy, lean, but complete, stringent, so that people should not come out or escape from the process. They have to follow, but you should not make too much complicated process. So it's very difficult to understand. We need to meet the requirement. That is our expectation. Not to make the system too complicated for the person. Do we live by the principle of comprehensive quality culture? Yes or no? We should be always say yes. If the answer is no, you need to make yourself in such a way. You need to modify yourself. to fulfill the quality culture. Is the quality a critical factor for your company decision process? Yes or no? If you're working in any life science industry, it should be by default as. If you're working in any regulatory agency, regulatory companies, which is following any kind of regulation, like a SEBI or banking sector or whatever it may be, it should be yes only. Even in your personal life also, you should be yes only. So this is all about data integrity, their consequences, the different kind of warning letter, what the different organization, either it's clinical trial or manufacturing plants or TV service found. I just try to keep a lot of things. Yes, but it's very difficult to discuss each and everything in detail. But yes, I try to make you understand some major aspect of data integrity. If you'll not follow, what could be the consequences, how you are going to implement that. So few things you need to, so you do not do any falsification. Prevention is better than cure. It's really important for you to understand your working process, to understand your CSB process. So it's very important. First, you should aware, then only you can implement those principles. Sometimes, so to avoid any kind of negligence. Negligence is very, it's kind of, I'll say, it's very bad for us. We should keep our eyes open always when we are doing any activity, because we are dealing with the subject safety, drug quality, and data integrity. Because your one mistake is going to make a trouble for your company as well as the patient who is already sick, and he will not get the quality product. So that is all about the data integrity. So here I'm stopping myself. If someone will have a question, or already it's late. Also, up to you.
Yeah. So thank you, sir. Thank you for the wonderful insight. So anyone is having
Thank you, sir.
thank you. Any questions? Anyone is having? It's a QA session time. You can ask all your queries if you have anything.
Yeah, actually, I have one doubt.
Yeah, please go ahead, Sakti.
It is regarding the like how much time we have to keep our records, right? It is I what I heard is after the expiry of the product 1 year, but SAR said around 10 years.
No. It's never 1 year. Sorry, I think you mistaken. It's
No,
depend on the
after the product expiry, like I am saying that 3 years product expiry is there. Again, I am keeping extra 1 year. Is this fine, or like you
no,
said like nine,
three
like
no
yeah,
three
yeah,
audit
go.
cycle, 3 audit cycle plus 1 year. So normally FDA will consider one audit cycle is 3 years. So 3 into 3, 9 plus 1, 10-year minimum for US FDA. If you're going for the Canada, if you're going for the Brazil and visa, you need to maintain the record for 25 years. If before that you want to destroy, yes, you can do, but you need to take appropriate approval.
Okay, but the badges will be like a lot, right? So it will be very difficult, I think, because after the 1 year expiry, the product will be no longer in the market, right?
Yes. It is
But
not in the
still,
market. You
yeah,
need
yeah,
to
product
maintain.
will not be in the market, but still we need to keep the records. Okay, then.
Uh, yeah, I
Yeah.
would like to add the answer over here. So, Sakti, I hope you might be aware about something called as pharmacovigilance, right? So sometimes what happens that when you are like taking some some kind of medicines as a doses, and then you get some side effects after some years. Okay, it does reflect after some years. So we are going to keep the records in case if any kind of regulatory concerns or any kind of AD or ADRs are coming. So in context to that, definitely it is a requirement. So that's why we are storing the data for that quite longer time. So I mean, when you are seeing from the perspective of only manufacturing, but when you look to the whole picture, it start from the pre-discovery phase of any medicines, then the clinical research part, then the manufacturing part, then again the product quality checks will happen. Then product will get approved, product will go to the market, and then post-marketing surveillance will happen. So these kind of scenarios will be there. So that's the reason, this is a mandatory requirement from regulatory bodies to retain the data. Definitely, your concern is very much correct that when
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
saying Yeah.
Thank you,
Then,
sir. It's new to me actually. Really.
Yes,
Thank you so much. Yeah.
concern is valid, but sometimes what will happen if some regulatory requirements are there, we need to fulfill. We can't avoid. But if really in some concern is there, we need to dispose the data. We can ask to the regulatory authority and the business. If both are agreed, we don't have, because again, what Ashu told, that the long-term impact, if it is coming from the drug which is taken today, so it may be coming up the 5 year, 4 year, 10 year. So based on that, they are having some kind of window period for the safer side. It's everything is the probability based or risk based approach. That's it.
so any more questions from anyone? I mean, definitely, like, it is too difficult to cover everything with respect to data integrity. It is one of the most critical component when you are talking about GXP as a system. But definitely, we try to cover the whole area. But when it comes to, like, data integrity concerns with respect to the softwares and systems, that is covered in the course. It is definitely, like, not possible to or feasible to cover it into one day. So that is definitely a part of our course, which is going to, like, be incorporated into the CSV course. Yes, Sairi, do you have any concern?
Yeah, can you throw some light on the new Alcoa plus plus principle that is traceable? So
Okay.
what my question is, what is the difference between the traceable and the other already there are Alcoa plus plus principles. So where
Mhm.
attributable and original everything is there. So now the new plus plus is traceable. So what is the importance of that one, and can you throw some light on it?
Sure.
See, traceability. Yeah, so you want to take the?
No, I was just saying that you can take this question.
Okay. See, simple thing, traceability is important everywhere. We are reporting a data to the authority. It is either it's a transcribed data, scanned data, directly coming from the system. So this is not a source data. It's a transformed data. It's not a modified data, but yes, it is taking from one system. Like if you see talk about the dossier, data is coming from some in vitro resolution testing, then some clinical trial data, some manufacturing pilot data. So all together will be cemented together. And it's mostly it is either just a transcribed data, exported data from different application. If it is the hard copy, it is a scanned data. Okay, so it's submitted. They will audit it. If they will have issue or they will come for the audit, if they want to see from date where you have taken the data, so traceability should be intact throughout the life cycle of the data. And if you are failed to produce your raw data from where you have taken the values for submission purpose or for interpretation purpose or calculation purpose, which is a part of your dossier, so you are going to make a major data integrity issue, and it lead to warning later. And sometimes they will say, boss, if you don't have source data, how I can consider the dossier what you have submitted is perfectly all right. It is giving the exact result what is generated throughout your life cycle of the generation of the data. If they will have the right, means they will question your data integrity. Means trust will go, and that lead to be warning later. Then you need to justify a lot. And for justification also, if you are making some mistake in transcribing, okay, that is okay. So you can say, okay, boss, by mistake we taken some other data, but it is available in our source data, justifiable. If you don't have the data, then it's very difficult to justify. You need to make recall the batch also. If depend on the nature of observation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any. Okay, so we have our other trainer here. I think he would like to add more to that.
Hi, thanks. And why this concept is introduced is traceability. We need to go to the root cause. So I give you one example related to the product traceability. So you have the manufacturing of the product from your purchasing of your API, and it will go through your API to your QC to the release to the market. Okay, and the market to it will go to their distributors. Okay, and distributor to the retailers and retailers to the normal shops. And few samples will go to MR, marketing representative, and they will share those samples to healthcare provider. So what was happening when the data integrity concept was introduced few years back when they introduced the Alcoa++? So from manufacturing to the marketing, if I need to recall the batch, okay, within a 1 day, okay, or within a 24 hour, I didn't have any traceability, okay, which shop have my product, or which retailer or distributor has my product. Okay, that's why the concept of the traceability, end-to-end traceability came in picture. Though they can recall it, but they couldn't recall the samples from the healthcare provider because due to the lot problems, and they were not keeping the track of the samples where they are sending the samples to the doctors and then to the healthcare providers. So that's why when the modernization and the concept of the automation came in picture. So in India, we know it is difficult because nobody bother about bills and the receipts. But if you go to UK and US, within I can recall my entire batch within 8 to 10 hours, including healthcare providers. Okay, so because I am using my all the integrated system from purchase, I have the purchase system. I can track from where I purchased my material. I can track where my manufacturing happened, and I can track where my all the medicines are there. Okay, and I can take you the example of one of the company. They recall their insulin product within 8 hours. Okay, very big company, and they recall their product including the healthcare practitioners, those who are doctors. Okay, so that's why the traceability concepting came in picture, because uh, there it was very difficult to track it. Second concept why traceability came, it due to the spurious drug, okay, or counterfeit drugs. Okay, I am not able to track. Okay, suppose company A is manufacturing the insulin, or same company B is also manufacturing the insulin. I copied their product, okay, and I launched those products to the market. But those are the counterfeit medicines. Okay, how I am going to track those counterfeit medicines? Okay, so that's why the concept of the traceability came in picture. Okay, though it is going to vary if you are using the clinical trial, if you are using manufacturing, if you are going with the pharmacovigilance. Okay, so it is going to be different, and you are using computer system validation. That traceability has the different meaning. So each and every area has the different meaning with respect to traceability. Hope I clarified your question.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Okay, any other concern from anyone? Okay, yes, topic. Go ahead.
Yes, I have a question regarding the 21 CFR Part 11 you showed about it, but I wanted to ask about the UNHL 11 as well. Now, 21 CFR Part 11 specifies on the electronic records and electronic signatures, right? But UNHL 11 is the overall guideline according to the EMA European guidelines for system validation. So, if a European auditor comes, does he specifically looks for electronic signatures? Electronic records, I agree. He might be looking for such things, but do they specifically look for electronic signatures as well? Like this difference, I wanted to understand.
The question is who want to take the who want to answer this?
I mean, my main question is about the difference between the UNH 11 and the 21 CFR Part 11, because 21 CFR I've seen they specifically have guidelines based on electronic signatures, like how the password policies should be designed and all these things are written, and what is the retention period. But UNH 11 doesn't talk about it. So if an auditor comes for European Medical Agency, does he look for electronic signatures for electronic records, or if I present a data which does not any electronic records which do not have the electronic signatures, so do they accept that, or do they give observations on that as well?
So, topic.
Yeah, sure.
Anyone wants to take this question, or shall I continue? Answer question.
Yeah, you can continue, sir.
Topic. It is the misconcept that 21 CFR Part 11 talks about only electronic record and electronic signature. 21 CFR talk about entire full-fledged validation. And in pharma, if you go to the most of the people, they will say it's talk about only electronic record and electronic signature. No, it is not. It is not correct. It is a blunder most of the people does. Okay, or they do. Reason is why 21 CFR Part 11 clearly states that system should be validated. Okay. That is the first misconception I want to clarify you. Second thing is that when we come to the Annexure 11, Annexure 11 is talk about more with respect to manufacturing practices. Okay, the difference between 21 CFR Part 11 and the Annexure 11 is that Annexure 11 is more talk about that your system project phase to your system operation phase, how you will conceptualize the automated system. Okay, how you are going to build the automated system in the project phase, and how we are going to take it for the operation phase until your batch release. Okay, so 21 CFR Part 11 doesn't talk about the batch release. Electronic 21 CFR, there's other differences. Okay, because the time is short, just that's why I wanted to clarify. Okay, this thing. And never ever say that 21 CFR Part 11 doesn't talk about electronic, oh sorry, validation aspect. Okay, there are the differences. Okay, there are the lots of differences. Okay, but this is the one difference just I want to tell you. Okay, if you go
Yeah,
and read.
I didn't
Yeah.
say that 21 CFR doesn't talk about validation. I was talking about the specification that, I mean, 21 CFR like gives stress on electronic signatures and records, right? More than, I mean, maybe you and EJ 11 has some separate set of guidelines. Both of them talk about full-fledged validation, but only the difference I wanted to know from the auditor point of view. Like if a IMA auditor comes and if I present electronic record which doesn't have the electronic signatures, does he accept it or he gives an objection? That is what I mean.
Let me answer, Tawfiq.
So here,
Yeah,
topic. Amit, yeah, please add on. Okay,
yeah,
so
Yeah, sure.
yeah. What is data integrity expectation here? Who is doing what is traceable. In case
Yes, yes.
European agency person is coming and auditing, if you are able to justify with your documentation process that whatever data is not having e-signature because of that limitation in the system, but yes, we are having some additional document to prove Mr. Tawfiq has done this activity, it is accepted. If you are not able to prove that who has done the activity, that is a own expectation, then they will not accept, they will raise a concern for that.
Okay, understood.
and topic, each and every system doesn't need electronic signature. So if I have
Yes.
only read-only system, if I have read-only system, I don't need electronic signature. And you can adopt the paper-based signature. If your system is not fulfilling the electronic signature requirement, you can adopt the paper-based signature. So you can create electronic record, convert into the PDF format, and you can use it for further.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, any other questions from anyone? Or else we'll be closing the session.
So if no question, we can conclude the call.
Yeah, we can close it, I think. So thank you guys for participating. We'll be taking the the exams and all the things like related to the certification in the group itself. So wherever you have joined from there, we'll take it up. Okay.
Thanks for asking questions. Sometimes people
Sorry,
are.
how to?
Yes, it's very.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Like
No,
how?
no problem. You can go ahead.
Yeah, how to take the exams?
Sorry, you're not audible enough. Can you just speak louder?
I
Hello.
mean, how to take the? Will there be any other link shared to us or?
We will reach out to you. You're
Hello,
already in the
am I
group,
audible
right?
now? Okay,
Your voice
okay.
is breaking. Yeah. So we'll reach out to you with the group,
Sorry,
the
maybe.
WhatsApp group, right?
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. And can you please share the details of the courses that you have mentioned in the beginning of this call, along with
Yeah,
the fees details?
sure, we'll do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks everyone for participating. So we are closing the session. Thank you. Bye. Good night.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
everyone.
Bye. Good night.
Thanks everyone. Bye. Thank you. product damage ಆಗುತ್ತೆ. Samsung website ಇದೆ. ಏರಿಯಾ
ನೋಕಿ ಮುತ್ತರದ ಇನ್ಸ್ಟಾಗ್ರಾಮ್ ಮುತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಎಂಚಿನ ವಿಡಿಯೋ ದುಬೈ ಮುರಾನಿ ಗೌರ್ನಗ ಇತ್ತಿನಕ
ಕ್ರಿಕೆಟ್
ಕೊಡಾಗ ಐದು ಮುಂದೆ ಅಗ್ಲನೇ
ಇಂಚಿನ ಮೊನ್ನೆ ನಾನು ಎತ್ತಲ್ಲ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಬಂದ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಪ್ರಾಬ್ಲಮ್ ಅಂತ 4000 mAh ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಅವು ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟ್ 4000 ಆತೇನಾ ಯಾರು ಜಾ ಇದಲ್ಲ 4000 ಅವು ಯಾರು S23 ಕಾಲಿ S23 ಅವು FE ಇದೆ ಬರಲಿ ನಾರ್ಮಲ್ ಇಂದು ಬ್ಲಾಕ್ ಐತೆ ಒಂದು ರೇಟ್ ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ಉಂಟು 40,000 ಆಗಿರ್ತದೆ ಬ್ಯಾಟ್ರಿ ಮಲ್ಲೆ ಉಂಟು ಆಯ್ತು ಮಲ್ಲೆ ಅವನಿಗೆ ತೋಜಿ ಅಂಚ ಈ ತಿಲ್ಲಿ ಉಂಟು ಮಾರಿ ಏನ್ ಅಮ್ಮಿದ್ದು ಹತ್ತಿರ ಬುರಿದ್ದ ಏನಪ್ಪ ಯಾವ್ದು ಕ್ಯಾಮರಾ ಬರು ಸೇಮ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ಐಫೋನ್ ಉಂಟು ಜೂಮ್ ಪೂರ ಚೂರು ಜಾಸ್ತಿ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಈಗ ರಿವ್ಯೂ ಐಫೋನ್ ಐಫೋನ್ ತಂದು ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತದೆ ಸೇಲ್ಸ್ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಆಗ್ತಾನೆ ಹೋಗ್ತಂಡ ಕಾರಣ ಕಂಟಿನ್ಯೂಸ್ 3 ಕ್ವಾರ್ಟರ್ ರೇಟ್ಲ ಕಮ್ಮಿ ಏನ ಮತ್ತೆ ಸಂಬಳ
ಅವು ಜಾನಡಿಗೆ ಕೊಬ್ಬರಿ ಅವು ಎನ್ನ ಮಗನೇ ಅಲ್ಲ ಅವು ಮುಗುಲು ನೀವು ಅಂತದ್ದು ಅక్కడ 20 ಮನೆ ಮದುವೆ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ ಒಂದೇ ಇರೋದು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು
ಅವ್ರು ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಆದ್ಮೇಲೆ ಒಂದೇ ಸೈಡ್
ಗಲಾಟೆ ಮದುವೆ ಅರ್ಜೆಂಟ್ ಹೋಗ್ತಾರೆ ಏನು ಗಲಾಟೆ ಐದು ಮಂಡೆ
20 ದಿನ ತುಳ ಏನು ಅಂತ ನೀನು
ಅಕ್ಕಿ ಗಲಾಟೆ ದುಮ್ಮನ್ ಪಾಟಿ 5 ತಿಂಗಳು ಗಂಟೆ ಮಾಡ್ತಾ ಆದ ಆಪು ಸತ್ಮೇಲೆ ತವಾಕಿ ಅವ ಆಕೆ ಮುಖ ಗೊತ್ತಾಯ್ತು ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬೋಲ್ಕ ಏನಿಗೆ ನೀನು ಮಾಮಿ ಸುಮಾರು ಬಂದಿರ ಅವ್ರು ಈಗಲೇ ಗೊತ್ತಿದ್ದಕ್ಕೆ ಆರೆಂಜ್ ಯಾರು ಹೋಗ್ತಿರ್ತದೆ ನಾವು ಒಂದು ಅವನು ಬಾಗಿಲು ಗೊಂಡು ಮಾಡಿ ಇಂತೆ ಬಾಗಿಲು ಯಾರು MS ಹೊರತಂಗೆ ಯಾರು ಹಾಕುತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಗೊತ್ತಿಲ್ಲ ಅವೇ ಐನ ಮಾಡಿದೆ ಮೂರು ಮಧ್ಯ ಏನಿದೆ ಯೋಗಿಸ ಮಲ ಇಲ್ಲ
ಯೋಗೀಶ ವಿಷಯ ಜಗಳ
ಅದು ಮಲ ಇರುವುದಲ್ಲ
ಕವಿ
ಮಲ ಯೋಗಿಸ ಆಯ್ತು ಅಂದ್ರೆ ಅವರು ಯಾನು ಇಂಚ ಆದ್ರೆ ಅಪ್ಪ ಮತ್ತೆ ಯೋಗಿಸ ಚಿಕ್ಕಪ್ಪ ಮತ್ತೆ ಹಂಚೋಳಿಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಂಕ್ಲೇ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೇನೆ ಇಂಕ್ಲಾಡಿಗೆ ಪಂಪು ಬೇರೆ ನಾವು ವೈದ್ಯ
ನಾವು ಅಂಗಡಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಇಲ್ಲಿ ಕಾಣದೇ ನೀರು ಹೇಳಿ ಇದಕ್ಕೆ ಹೋದ್ರೆ ಹೆಚ್ಚಾಗಿ ಫೋನ್ ಮಾಡ್ತು ಮಾಮಿ Quando le corne mi costano la dai in centro. E che mi detto dai phone mi phone da detto quando vero con la faccio per mi da non di niente e lo dici. Oh, che non lo non. Mi avanti di verla. Anche ma così era nella fonte ma e ne vorrei gente della domani in centro quando ne si in queste dicevano 되지는 아 이제 맞도 안 잡으러 왔더니 그다음에 언제 좀 왔는데 이제 막 뭐라고 근데 이번에 했네 내가 어떻게 기다려나 이거 왜 그거는 맞으면 되는 거예요 무슨 것들을 선물하니 아기왔지 예 아주들 보내들라 선물하니 못하는 거 말래라 elalla mucha alappala ancha magalendile yandu presente le torimba le l'intervate